Midnight walking in the moon.
Good evening and welcome back to the Mitch'nandMauck'n About the Cards podcast. I'm Mitchell, and as always, joined by the mouth of the West, Tyrell Mock. He also happens to be the owner and proprietor of the Superstition Ranch there in Arizona, where not only tonight, but forever, if you are a member of Team USA hockey, you drink for free.
USA,
Forever.
USA, USA. That was a great
The
game, dude.
Canadian tears taste like Nickelback and maple syrup.
It says, well said.
Game was at 7 o'clock St. Louis time this morning. My wife actually got up early, had a nice little breakfast casserole. She watched the whole game. She got emotionally invested in the human interest pieces of the hockey game. Was really cool. Again, my wife, casual sports fan other than football. They were handing out the medals. Her exact quote: "Here's your silver medals. Get the fuck off our ice." Like, let's go.
Let's go. I love
You
it.
know, I don't care how you lean politically, it doesn't matter. Lots of issues with our country right now, but we can all be united when it comes to sports. That's the great thing about it, especially watching Team USA.
Bro, my wife finished the game with me too. I got in there that right after the third period started. I started that, and then she got there at the end and she was like, What just happened? We just win the gold. I'm like, yes, we did. She goes, oh my God. I was like, you even like sports. What is happening right now? It was great. Great moment.
How about Jack Hughes? I mean, talk about a guy living the dream. I mean, you win a gold medal for your country, you're nailing Tate McRae. Like, it's a hard life, and somebody has to do it.
Someone, and I'm glad it's him. And hate
Three gold medals now for Team USA in hockey: 1960, 1980 Miracle on Ice team, and of course 2026. So you're getting about one every generation. Pretty cool thing. Tyrell, you like the Olympics? Did you watch a lot of them?
I did not. I watched this, a little bit of downhill skiing, and that was about it. You know, in our rundown, we got something was supposed to be going on with us. Dude, I got a 2-year-old and she's into Peppa Pig right now. So that is what I get to watch all the time.
Belle's 10 and she kind of just does her own thing these days. So Olympics were on. Had in my classroom a lot. We got to watch a lot of like skeleton and ski shooting biathlon. I love the Winter Olympics, man. It's like, here's some snow. Just go do what you want with it and make it a race. It was pretty cool. Team USA, another big show, of course, in figure skating. I think first time they won a gold since the 2010s. So that was pretty cool. For not having a lot of snow and ice around our country, we showed out pretty well. I think top three in medals overall.
Yeah, we had 12, right?
Yes, 12
Okay.
gold.
12 gold. Okay. Yeah.
But of course, the Olympics once again finished with the big Team USA win over Canada. And a shout out to the women's team, too, who kind of rolled through their tournament. I think up until the gold medal game, they were out scoring teams like 44-1. Canada played them tough, but ultimately, Team USA the gold again. America is hockey country.
We're back.
Oh, man. Lots of things going on in our country. It's going to be a heck of a week for the USA. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
We can turn this into a CNN podcast after we get on with the regular show.
I feel like you can say that every week, dude.
Yeah, it's every week at this point. It's a simulation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Tyrell, baseball is back. And of course, we're back too. We're going to be back probably every week now at this point. At least through spring training, we'll go to the once a week schedule on Sunday nights to recap the week before the regular season kicks off. First two spring training games in the book. Yesterday, 11 Ks. Looked god awful. Today, though, a nice win, a 6-5 win against the Astros. Obviously didn't get to watch any of the game, just kind of looking through the box score and then what I was reading on X today. Seems like Rodriguez had a pretty good game. The young catching prospect, just 19 years old. Looked like Pozo had 2 hits in his bid to be the backup catcher over Jimmy Crook. And of course, Kyle Leahy, 2 innings. Did give up a run. 3 strikeouts, though. Not bad for a guy who's going to possibly be your 5th starter. Any early thoughts in camp? Also, the signing of Ramon Rios, who kind of is going to be a backup infielder, and what does that mean for Thomas Ajacey moving forward?
I like that everybody's there. I'm glad Newt showed up at spring training. Not that he's going to be on the team that much till July. We're in the first weeks of everything. I'm optimistic. Let's see the young guys, see how they do. I'd like to see another veteran signing come out of the starter rotation, but yeah, let's go. Ronel Rodriguez, Reyes coming in, probably push Sagasi to the outfield. I think that's what's going to happen with him this year. I'm looking forward to him though, because all he's done is hit throughout his entire come up through the minor leagues.
Yeah, I think there's some really intriguing names, and we'll kind of get more into the lineup later. But Riaz is probably that veteran insurance. As they're going to JJ Weatherholt, there's that Mo word again, the runway to win a second base job. He was taking first team reps and drills. It looks like your starting infield is going to be Gorman, Wynn, Reyes, and Burleson going left to right there, so to speak. And we'll talk about that more next week. Tonight, though, kind of want to hit on the rotation. It has the potential to be the worst rotation in baseball.
In
Uh,
baseball.
it's gonna be
Yeah, yeah.
ugly. Matthew Liberatore, forever the internal number 4-3 pitcher on the staff. Probably gonna get the ball opening day against
Yep.
Tampa.
Yep. Gonna get the
You had a
opening day
really
nod.
interesting point when we were talking this week about Matthew Liberatore.
Yeah, I don't think I'm granted, great, good for you. You're the longest tenured starter right now. So you're getting the day nod. Good for you. But he is your he's now your Lance Lynn, your uh John Lester. I guess Lester could have been described as a number one at certain points in his career. I think Libby can do that at some points, but I think he's your solid number three innings eater guy. I know he hit that wall last year, but I think he's going to bounce back through that. But he's just going to be your innings eater. He's just a solid number three. He's never going to be anything above that. And then, and in the hindsight, looking back at that Rosarina Libertor trade, it's like for like, I don't think anyone was going to be standout. I don't think anyone's going to be a superstar. So I think we're right on par. We just traded like for like on that one.
You said, it could be Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn had a very solid big league career. I believe 15, 16 years, made an all-star team twice. I think we'd all be okay if that was
Yep,
what
yep.
Matthew Liberatore was going to come out to, be sneaky on an all-star team once or twice. I don't see it. I think he's just another dude. They've got just dude after dude, nothing but threes and fours. Dustin May is an interesting name, guy with a ton of upside. But if he shows anything at all, he's going to be shipped in July. Andre
That's the worst part for me
Palante
right
is
there. That's the worst part. I think May, if he bounces back this year, he's your lottery ticket to get more prospects. But wouldn't you not like a 30-year-old guy that could have lights out stuff help out with this rebuild? Because we ain't got anybody else coming up that's like that.
healthy. He gives you 180 innings. The problem is he can never stay healthy, and that's what you're banking on this guy to stay healthy. He was proven when he's on, he's probably a number two, a
Yeah,
very
yeah, absolutely.
solid number two. The problem is he just cannot stay on the field. If they get 100 innings and 15 starts out of him before they ship him off to probably Boston, like it's
Yeah, yeah.
that's not a bad return on your investment at all. You've got Palante probably in the three spot. That's going to be awful. I mean, he was bad last year, not looking to get any better. McGreevy is an exciting guy. He again probably tops out at maybe a number two. I don't think he's ever going to be a number one. And then Kyle Leahy at the five. Matthews is hurt. Liam Doyle's probably not ready. Then you've got Richard Fitz and Hunter Dobbins who are fighting for stuff. Is anybody out of those seven names I mentioned? Anybody going to make 30 starts?
No, and I think that's the worst part. I think really what you really need to do is if you with this depth, and that's what Leahy's gonna be. He's gonna be your classic Cardinal. Hey, we're gonna turn you're a great reliever into a starter. Guess what? We're gonna have an injury in the bullpen. He's going right back to the bullpen. None of these guys scare me. I'm not worried about any of these guys. Go to a 6-man rotation and just stretch them out as much as you can, help them out. It's gonna be bad.
Who's the stopper? You're coming off a 3-game losing streak, a 4-game losing streak. You've lost 7 of 10. Who's the guy who's going to give you 7 innings of a 1-run ball to stop a losing streak? There's
He's not
not
on this
one.
roster. He's not on this roster. I don't think you've got him coming at all. So it's not this guy's.
More than a number one, you need that guy who the bullpen's beat up. He can go wear it for 7 innings. And the Cardinals have always had that guy when they've been successful. Going back to, the 2000s, we kind of refer to as the modern era. Daryl Kyle, your Matt Morris's, and then of course we waxed poetic about the Wayno Carpenter days. But even a Jeff Suhan or a Lance Lynn could stop the bleeding in the rotation and give you 7 plus to help out the bullpen and let the offense figure it out.
Woody effing Williams could give you 7 innings of one hit ball, and you'd be like, "All right, we're in line to win a 2-1 baseball game. Thanks, Woody." Yeah, none of these guys are here. You don't have a stopper.
But we talk about those guys we just mentioned in the early 2000s. There was also an Albert Pujols in that lineup with one swing could get you back in offensively.
That is 100% correct. I mean, that is something we cannot forget, honestly.
No, so those 7, 8 names, they're all probably going to make at least 5 stars. Dobbins and Fitz will definitely get probably 5 at some point. Will we see Liam Doyle this year at some point?
It depends on how Heim wants to run things. Like, honestly, I don't think you would ever seen him in the Mosaic era. You would never see somebody with that much potential come up. I think depends on where Heim's at. Also, man, this 2027 lockout has a big change there too. It's got some repercussions there. So I doubt you see him unless he is just pushing the envelope to where they have to see him.
I'm glad you brought up the lockout. It's coming, and it's looking more and more every day that it's coming out. Major League Baseball Player Association President Tony Clark has resigned his position. Uh,
Yeah.
there were some conduct issues. The rumor, and of course it's rumor, so take it for what you will, is that he was having an affair with his sister-in-law.
Oh, hey now.
Yeah, Tyrell, I'm going to ask you, and this one is off the cuff. It's not a baseball question. What's worse, sister-in-law wise, your brother's wife or your wife's sister?
Brother's wife. Brother's wife all day long. You can divorce and never see either one of those people again. You cannot divorce your brother. That's gonna make for some awkward Thanksgivings.
If you ever go back to Thanksgiving from that.
If you ever, yeah. I don't know how you face your family, dude.
No, and so now MLBPA with the transition, they've got an interim president, and the name escapes me right now, but it doesn't look good regarding baseball in 2027, if at all. Like I think it's going to be a long lockout, maybe a shortened schedule sometime in July, kind of like the COVID year. But I don't think we see baseball in 27, and I
I
think
don't
it will
think so
kill the
either.
sport.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be the downhill of it, and it's gonna be over with after that. I think you have your little comeback where people's all excited, and then it's just gonna lose all its luster. You're gonna lose a lot of people, especially with baseball having an older demographic already, and those people have shown to not throw their money back out if they've been screwed.
We are the last generation that loves baseball.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
my students, they're middle school kids, they don't know a thing about baseball outside of Aaron Judge, Otani, and teaching Jeff City Mo. I live in mid Missouri, Bobby Witt Jr.
okay,
But
yeah.
they couldn't name 2 dudes on the Cardinals right now if they had to. They barely remember who Albert Pujols was. They sure as hell don't know Pete Pujols. They weren't alive for when that happened. I mean, I'm teaching these kids, some things, and they don't remember the 2011 World Series because they weren't born yet. I mean, that's just how old we are. And the biggest issue with this upcoming lockout is going to be the floor and the ceiling, and no one's going to budge on it. The association wants a floor, the owners want a ceiling. It's going to be billionaires fighting with millionaires, which you said something in a text to me, and I'm going to share it. It is a picture of society, except for millionaires fighting with the middle class or what used to be the middle class.
Mhm.
There's no middle ground between the two parties.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what I said. Like, there's nothing. That's what's going to happen. You're just watching billionaires versus millionaires right now, and it's gonna get ugly. I don't think this is going to be a pretty lockout at all. There's going to be some slinging going on in here because they're going to want to see some financials, and the big wigs are not going to give up those financials.
No, they don't have to. I mean,
Yep.
they are private owned businesses. They don't have to show their books, but they're making money hand over fist. Or, the DeWitts cry poor all the time. It's not profitable to be an owner of a Major League Baseball team. Then why do people do it? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't know a lot. I'm a simple, simple man from a small town, but you're not in. It's not Gussie Bush who ran the Cardinals as a public service to the city of St. Louis and took a loss year after year. Used it as a marketing tool for the brewery. And you're in it to make money. And these guys will not be buying these franchises for billions of dollars if there wasn't some money to be made in it.
Fair. I mean, there has to be some money made somewhere in that whole thing. So, like, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I don't right now on February 22nd of the 26th. This time next year, are we doing this podcast or are we on a hold period because there's no baseball to talk about?
I think you're on a whole period because there's no baseball to talk about. I think as soon as the World Series is over, they're locked out, and there's not going to be a conversation until after the beginning of the first of the year. Not going to do anything until that. I don't think there's anything happening.
Do you want to just replay the 2011 season if that happens? Like
Oh
trade
my
from
god,
spring trading on.
can we? I would love that to watch
I mean,
the
all the
yeah.
games, the box scores are available.
Mm.
YouTube, we could just trade it week to week from 2011. It'll be 16 years at that point. Nobody else will remember. We just
No,
kind
and
of
then you can sit back and think about the trade speculations that could have happened and would have. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'd be kind of fun actually. Relive that. Let's do it.
we might be doing it in August if this team is 30 games
Yes.
out.
If this team is destined to win and lose 100 games, we're going to be doing some fun stuff in August for sure.
The Olympics are over, and now we kind of turn to the next thing on the international stage. I'm talking the World Baseball Classic. Everybody became big hockey fans for at least a day. The first World Baseball Classic game begins March 5th, so we're about 10 days out from that. Tyrell, are we going to have the same amount of national pride in Team USA baseball as we did for the hockey team or any part of the Olympics, or is this just a small blip on the sports radar?
I think this is a small blip on the sports radar. I think the only reason that it got big ratings last time that we had the WBC was the Otani factor in that whole thing and the Trout into the for the final of that game that series. I don't think it's going to be that big a deal in baseball world. Yeah, it's big, but in everyday society, nobody's going to care about this at all.
Fox is taking over the broadcast rights. I think the games will be on like at 4 a.m. on Fox, and then Fox Sports 1, FS2 for a lot of it. Probably the Team USA games will be featured on the big Fox network at times, but it's hard to get excited about a fake tournament. It's to draw up stuff. It's cool, but I couldn't tell you anybody on Team Israel's roster right now or anything like that. And Japan's going to be cool to watch. Of course, the Dominican, Mexico, places like that. Pools is managing a team. Yachty's managing a team. Looking at Team USA's roster, no Cardinals listed. Goldie, former Cardinal, on the roster. Michael Waka, and then of course the hitting coach of Team USA Baseball, Matt Holliday. But not a lot of guys. Of course, we have our superstars and Bobby Witt Jr., Aaron Judge. It'll be on because it's baseball. It's competitive baseball, not like a spring training game. And I'm holding out paying the $20 to MLB until I absolutely have to watch a Cardinal game. But I don't know if I'll get excited until the elimination rounds.
Yeah, no, it's just like every other round robin tournament or the March Madness. I don't get excited till the last rounds of those things. I don't care about the opening days or anything like that. Just give me to the Elite Eight and go on.
You don't care about the opening weekend of March Madness? What is wrong with you? That's the best weekend in sports.
I'm not a basketball guy. It's never been my thing, dude.
Oh, I hate basketball, but March Madness is awesome. Watching some 12 seed from some college I've never heard of who's got a whole roster of 9 white dudes with, you know, business management degrees just going out and rolling some dude for
I'll
2
watch the
weekends.
highlights, but I am not watching a game. I'm not sitting there for a basketball game. I
I
hate
am
watching basketball.
wall to wall March
Okay.
Madness. I am
All right.
here for it.
Okay.
And I think it
Right
actually
on.
coincides with our spring break this year, so it's even better.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and pause here. I'm gonna call Riker, see if he's ready, and then we'll go on to our next segment. And with us tonight, he is the owner and the sponsor of our podcast, the owner of After School Breaks, Riker Hill, joining the show tonight. Riker, welcome. Good to have a guest.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. How you doing?
Doing well. Tonight we're talking baseball cards, the hobby overall in general. What kind of got you into collecting? What's your collecting story?
I'm a big Cal Rally guy and
Ooh.
Ichiro,
Okay.
so I'm a Mariners guy primarily when it comes to baseball.
Oh,
Football, big Colts guy, but
that's so weird because you grew up in the Northwest, right there, going to games at the Kingdom, early A-Rod time. How'd you find the Colts?
so it's funny. I was living in North Carolina because my dad was a Marine, and he was a big Raiders fan. And we got into a pissing match over something stupid when I was like 5 years old. and they were playing the Colts that day. So I rooted against the Raiders to the best of my ability, and then the next year they drafted Peyton Manning.
Can't go wrong with that then, man. You can't go wrong there.
I'll take that good 15 years for what we've had lately. So
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
time to get into the Colts right there to peak Peyton Manning. What was it? Did you ever see games at the Kingdom or did you go to Safeco for games?
so I caught the last couple years of the Kingdom right before they blew it up. And then Safeco Field was the bread and butter of pretty much my childhood for ages 5 to 15. My grandpa had season tickets right behind home plate.
Pretty
So
stadium,
got
dude.
to meet and experience a lot of cool things, even
Hell
though there
yeah.
was a lot of bad baseball. And question, am I allowed to cuss on here now?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're good. Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Okay, so there was a lot of real shitty baseball there for probably about 8 years after we all got caught doing steroids in Seattle.
Yes, yes.
Like
The
when
Yeah.
Brett
FCC
Boone's
says we
hitting
get 3
45
cups
home
per
runs.
show. Well, now we get 2, but
Okay.
you had a really cool story the other day about Mike Cameron.
Oh, God, I'm trying to remember. Cameron. Which one was it with Cameron? Or are you thinking about the Johnny Damon story?
Maybe it's a Johnny Damon story.
Okay, so Johnny Damon was the one with my dad.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was Johnny Damon. My dad had just gotten back from Iraq in, God, what would it have been? Damon had just signed with the Yankees. So whatever year that was, I think it was '06, his
I was gonna
first
say
year
oh
with the
five or
Yankees.
6. So yeah, it'd probably be oh
It
06.
was
Yeah.
after
Makes
Boston.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So his first year with the Yankees, though, they're warming up. We're there early. And Johnny's coming off the field. My dad yells at me. He's like, "Hey, man, I just got back from Iraq. Can I get a picture?" And he comes over and he BS's with us for a good 5-10 minutes. He runs in, grabs a few balls, signs them for us, takes some photos, and awesome day. That was that. And then give it another 3 years, 2 years. Last season at Yankee Stadium comes around, and my dad got deployed for another 12 months. Well, as a surprise, when he was back on leave, my grandpa took us to the stadium for the 3-game series against the Mariners. Well, we're sitting there in left field in the first game. My dad yells at Damon again. "Hey, Johnny, remember me? I just got back from Iraq." And he looks over and gives us a wave. And, it's clear he remembers us because it wasn't that long ago. My dad's pretty distinct. Like, you've met him before, Mitch. Like, you don't really forget him. And he yells that again. Well, Damon tosses a ball to us. My dad fumbles that ball so badly. Damon yells at him. He's like, "Way to go, Butterfingers," as he's heading in. Well, on the way back out the next inning, he had a signed one in his hand, and he ran over to the sidewall and tossed it to him so that he couldn't screw it up that time. But it was just kind of one of those moments where it's like, even though they're making millions and millions of dollars, they still got in them to be human.
Yeah, yeah, they're still dudes. They put their pants on the same way you do. They're pretty cool people, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, yep.
Riker's dad is the most interesting man in America, served our country as a Marine, rubbed elbows at one point with Chris Kyle, I found out the other day, and once got really drunk with, was it John Stockton?
So Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
Even
Even
better.
better.
Even better.
Yeah. The rest of the Celtics were there, but Bird was the blue collar drinker.
I can see him talking shit too while he's drinking. Like, you gonna finish that up there? You nursing that one? I can just see that at a bird.
Well, I mean, when you really ruin your NBA career because you want to pour your own driveway instead of or paying someone else to do it, like,
That's that blue collar mentality right there.
you know,
That's true, dude.
speaking of Bird and cards, I think I got something you might want to take a
Yeah,
look.
it's time for a little show and tell.
All right.
Let's
What
show
we
off
got
some
here?
cards, guys. What's cool in your collection these days?
So this was one that me and Mitch actually just acquired the other day. So it's a little hard to see through there. But
Yeah, but you see Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. Is that Dominic
Isaiah
Wilkins?
Thomas.
that's
Isaiah
Isaiah
Thomas.
Thomas right
Okay, Isaiah
there.
Thomas. Okay, yeah.
So that's game used at a 18 for all three of them, but it's
Hell
also
yeah.
signed in a Beckett 10. And that kind of just stumbled upon us the other day in a really lucky situation.
Heck yeah.
Tyrell?
Heck yeah. That's a great card. That's a great pull. That's one of those you gotta like take advantage of as soon as you see one of those. You gotta grab that card.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it takes a lot to get rid of a card like that, too, after you come across it.
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah. That's one of those you're like, hey, these are one of my lifetime cards. This is going in the PC for sure.
Exactly.
Sure. Right on, right on. I pulled like 6 cards that I got, and one of them I didn't even mean to grab because I did not even know I had this card, but I got to add a, let's see, I got to, oh, which way is my camera going here? I got to add a 5
Oh,
McGuire. Did not know I had that card. This was, I got into a leaf kick for a while. There's a Libby that says Nike on it. That's 3 of 5. I thought that was a really tight card. Just the Nike aspect. Now we're going a little bit I've never been able to get a Yachty by himself, but I got a Yachty, Goldie, and a Flaherty out of 36. The patches suck, but that was a cool one for me, to finally get one. And then we're going old school. I got a game used Jimmy Ball game, 5 out of 5
Yes.
auto.
that's awesome.
And then here's my last 2 to draw. The patch sucks, but it's an Albert auto patch. Had to get that at a 84 at a 149. And then this one's more sentimental. My grandpa had this card with his grandma, and I bought it at the auction that she died at. It's a 1962 post Mickey Mantle card. Just, it's nothing
Wow.
big,
Wow.
but it's just sentimental that it was my great grandmother's, and I was like, I got to have that card. So, yeah, yeah. So that's some of the cool pieces that I got in my collection. So,
I'm a huge McGuire collector, just a couple of them. The patches are terrible. It's just the Gypsy Queen, of course.
okay,
And
still
then
a sick card.
I got more McGuire patches than I know what to do with. But this one I like. It's the popular demand one. It's number 1 out of 3.
Hey,
I have 1 out of 3, and I have
Ooh,
3 out of 3. I don't
nice,
have number
attaboy.
nice.
2.
We got
Okay,
to find
Number
number two.
number
yeah,
Just
2
sold the
has
market.
never been put on market. I check for that card once a week
That's
nice.
sitting in some dude's collection, and that's not moving.
or in a
Never
box
ever, yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Riker,
Oh,
we just worked a card show together. We saw kind of a little bit of what the younger crowd was after. Where do you think the hobby's going, man? Like, who do you see as kind of the rising guys to collect? I know lately you've switched over to more vintage collection
yeah.
stuff,
Love
but
that.
do you
Love that,
see?
dude.
Are you prospecting at all these days, or are you sticking more towards those guaranteed guys that are always going to be there?
So that was one thing over the last few years that I feel like has really, really come to a head in the card market is that before it took a lot for a guy's value to drop. Like, I feel like in the
Mhm, mhm.
90s, guys were safe. Like, you
Yeah.
could get arrested, you could get popped for coke. It didn't seem to matter. Like, your values were pretty good as long as you were playing ball.
Yep, yep.
Now, you get injured for even, hell, 5, 6 games if you're playing football. Like, look at Jaden Daniels' market this year. He
Mhm.
went from being the cream de la cream of the quarterbacks last year to, hell, now you can buy his Prism Silvers for like $30 in a PSA 10.
Wow.
That was a $600 card this time last year.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Tyrell and I talked about this, or maybe you and I did at school. Trout's market is non-existent these days. Bryce Harper is non-existent.
well, I
Yeah,
realized that at that show we went to. Remember, I had that heavy lumber PSA 10, and I couldn't even give it away.
yeah. Well, I mean, and you threw that in the trade for the tri auto, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, kids today are about 3 guys: Witt, because we live in Central Missouri, Judge, and Otani. And other than that, we can't give away a baseball card.
Well, and that was one of the things I realized too was even with Otani, if there was anyone else on it not named Ichiro, like you've got problems with that too. Like the new market seems to be very, very selective and player based, not so much team based anymore. And I think that's what's going to throw a lot of people off is the new era kids don't seem to give a damn about actual teams.
Well,
Yeah, it's
neither do
all
the players.
players now. Yeah,
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 the
it's
players
legit.
don't
Yeah.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
Tyro-
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Tyrell, you did a lot of prospecting on those Cardinal ones, and you were big into Gorman, you were big into Walker. How'd that investment work out?
It's been bad. It's been bad. I got big into Justin Williams too because I thought that we needed a left-handed power hitter. I thought he was going to be good. Yeah, none of my prospecting has really panned out too much. I did kind of go through some stuff tonight, and found out that I've got a couple more Alec Burlesons than I thought. Found out that I have a Mason Wynn Leaf out of 5 auto, but it's a Leaf. And if you're not, you're not showing that logo, it's not worth anything to a lot of these collectors too. And that's the other bad thing. I think you're like you kind of say like, dude, everything's baseball is kind of prospect hunting. Football is where the money's at.
Yeah.
Really big in football.
And just stay the hell away from basketball unless you have the money to purchase ridiculously high end at this point. Like, we've realized that the last couple shows too now is anything under probably $100 for basketball, nobody is even interested in purchasing.
I think we sold $10 of basketball cards and
And we had
Wow.
LeBron, Steph's, nice inserts, prisms, all that. We just wanted $1 a card and
Wow.
couldn't even get them.
That's nuts. And
Cooper
that's what
Flag.
we
That's the
yeah,
market. It's Cooper
yeah,
Flag only now for basketball.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
something that I going back to your vintage stuff, it kind of just confuses me that you'll see these guys. Hell, Liam Doyle going for 450. Like that's nuts to me. When I can get an Albert Pujols guaranteed auto or guaranteed Hall of Famer, $200. I can get his
exactly.
autograph on his card. Now, granted, you're one of his rookies. Yeah, you're still looking your $700 to $1,500, but some of us just like autographs and like the cards, and that's just nuts to me that how much this prospecting for baseball has changed the entire market. So I think I'm with you going more vintage stuff.
It cracks me up that you just said that. So I had bought into a couple breaks on whatnot for the new Prism line that came out for football. And I hit a Riley Leonard autograph. I'm a big Colts guy, but I have no desire to have our third string quarterback's autograph.
Right?
And it was going for $500 on eBay. So I sold that thing and bought a Peyton Manning rookie PSA auto.
Exactly.
Like,
That's a great maneuver right there. That's exactly what I
exactly.
would
Like,
do.
that's something I will love and cherish in my
Mhm.
personal collection. And like, there's no way this market can keep up, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
We are headed definitely for a second running of the junk wax era.
Ye-
Cards got it big again right during COVID when we couldn't do anything. You look at what Mendoza's stuff's going to be like as soon as the first batch of football cards roll out here.
I'm glad you brought him up. That is the one guy I would short like no other. If you
Yes.
hit any of his stuff, sell immediately.
Immediately. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
kid, like, he could even be decent, but I think he's going to have too much of that Tim Tebow, Russell Wilson kind of good guy ego, and that doesn't sell in the NFL.
And he's going to the Raiders.
Yeah.
He's
Disaster
going to
of a
be
franchise.
horrible for years.
The
Not him, the team. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all about who is surrounding you on football. It does not matter. That's why Mahomes is sorry to talk shit about you Chiefs fans. That's why Mahomes has gotten where he's at because he had a great team around him. He got drafted late. That was why. It
Yeah. I
matters.
mean, if you look at pretty much every quarterback who has true generational success, they all have a team around him. If you look at Brady, he always had good teams around him. If you look at Manning, the years where he actually won, he had great teams around him. Montana always had great teams. Bradshaw, great teams. Aikman, great teams. You can't do it alone in that league, but
You go
but
back
we
to the
like to
Mahomes
pretend like
draft,
it's all quarterback.
and it was Deshaun Watson, Mitch Trubisky, and Mahomes were the top three quarterbacks. And you wonder how their careers all would have played out had they flipped teams. If Mahomes would have been a Bear, had Trubisky gone to the Texans, and Deshaun Watson, who most Chiefs fans wanted coming off that natty at Clemson, would have ended up in Kansas City instead.
We have a lot less masseuses in Kansas City, though, so he might have done better.
He might have been actually. I'm sitting here thinking about it. He'd probably still be rocking pretty damn good, dude. Like that running aspect, and he could throw the deep ball. That would have been a pretty good combination.
They probably would have kept him in the straight and narrow, too, a
Yes,
lot better.
yes, yeah, yeah.
What
Because there ain't
Mahomes
nothing to
got
do in
the
H Town but go to the titty bar.
no. What Mahomes got the benefit of the other two didn't is he sat for a year. And that's a huge on a rookie quarterback, just getting to sit for a year.
Well, and
Going
he
back to
sat behind Alex
That's
Smith
Smith.
nonetheless,
Yep,
too, who, like, he had a hard road in the NFL. Like, if there's somebody to teach you something, it's that guy.
it's that guy exactly. Yeah, it's him, 100%.
You
And
go
he,
back to a Mendoza, who's going to be the number one pick, short his stuff because he's going to have to play right away. He's not going to get the benefit of
yes,
sitting for a year, and he may be
His stuff,
an all pro, but he's going to sit and he's going to be bad at least the first year.
yeah, and like with what we've seen with Jaden Daniels, I mean, you go from rookie of the year to your stuff is worthless within 9 months. So do you really want to take the chance of getting high dollar cards on a guy like that to just have them be worthless in 6 months if they have the season we expect they'll have?
I bet you could go probably find a Joe Burrow for relatively cheap right now too, and he is still got not in his prime yet, and they could still buy him pretty cheap, which is disgusting to think about. Because I think if his trajectory could end up in the Hall of Fame, and here and we're still talking about Mendoza and everything else. It's the card market is speculation and gambling now.
Yep.
Everybody
That's
wants a
why
lottery
like
ticket.
that's why I've switched to the old vintage at this point.
Yes,
58 Mantle.
Give me as many Mantles, give me all the Hank Aaron's. Hell,
Willies.
give me Bradshaw Montana even. Like anything where the guy can't have his reputation completely destroyed at this point. Like if he's dead, that's a safe investment.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Okay,
is.
you
Yeah,
know that
yeah,
market's not gonna drop
yeah.
unless something crazy comes out. Like,
I'm not sure Mickey Mantle could have destroyed his reputation any more so while he was alive.
no,
It's fair.
I mean,
It's
greatest
completely
hungover
fair.
baseball player ever.
Ever. Just spectacular things with torn MCLs and elbows and just drunk all the time. What
the
an
way he
amazing
treated
player.
his body and could still do the
God.
things that he did
Yeah, yeah.
before modern medicine.
That's an American hero.
He is. He is.
You know, the big reason why we brought Riker on tonight, Riker, you want to tell the audience about the card show, the big one we're gonna go down and work here at the end of May, or excuse me, end of March.
Yeah, so we will be in St. Louis in, let's see, March 27th through the 29th. What's the name of that casino again,
The
Mitchell?
Hollywood Casino.
So we will be there on Friday. I believe it starts at 6 to 8 o'clock at night on Friday. It's kind of just a setup day. And then Saturday, they open at 10 o'clock and stay open till 6, same hours on Sunday. And I think we're going to have 150 tables there. Um, People will be there signing. They're making it a surprise though, so we'll see what winds up happening. But should be a pretty good time and get to see what the markets are really like with that many people over a long term show too. Because up until the national convention every year, it's kind of really just speculation until they set the market again. So
I mean, it
Have
was $10 a ticket, so it's not a free show. So I mean, you're gonna have some high rollers in there, Tyrell. I know you're looking at flights, maybe coming down, hanging out with us Friday night into
yeah, I'm trying to
Saturday.
think about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have either one of you guys been to the National?
No, it's in Chicago
I
this year though.
okay. I went to the 1994 National Convention in St. Louis.
no kidding.
Was yeah, overwhelming as a 12-year-old. I did not know what to do. Like it was nuts. Most baseball cards and football, everything I've ever seen in my life. It's in Chicago this year. I'm gonna
Yes.
try to. I want to do it again because it was now that you know and you have disposable income as an adult. As 12-year-old, I didn't have no friggin' money, but it was pretty cool to go to. So we're gonna try to see if we can do a natty one day.
I mean, a flight into St. Louis and then a train ride there and back. You're there.
I've done that
Spend a
train
day
ride
and
too.
then take the train back home. That would be good. But yeah, we're gonna be there. I think we're gonna try to do a live pod Friday night from the show. Depending on how it goes, it's looking like it's gonna be a pretty big show. Lots of cool stuff. Riker and I both been acquiring inventory, so to speak, left and right here lately. A lot of vintage stuff, especially some vintage Cardinal stuff. There's a pretty cool Stan Musial patch auto that Riker's keeping in his back pocket for the show.
Beauty.
So there's some good stuff that's gonna be there.
Yeah, there may be a couple more like that on the way too.
All right, I like to hear that.
Every time I
Let's
talk to
go.
this guy, I'm done buying. 15 minutes later, I get a picture of what else he just bought.
You know, deals have been good lately. It's been pretty easy to find some stuff at this point. Markets are
And yeah,
low.
I would say right now before the start of the season is a time to get that stuff going. So you're buying at the right time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I go ahead. I called you on this one, Tyrell. Record bought some 1990 hockey. Talk about chasing
Yeah,
the rookies inside there. The Eric Lindros is in that set, and so is the Curtis Joseph, if you remember that name. Goaltender
that
from the
one.
Blues.
Okay,
It was Brett Hull teams. So we'll be
Oh,
chasing hockey cards for the next couple weeks.
why
you
not?
know, that was a funny purchase. So I was going through a box of cards that I've had for hell, 20 years at this point that just happen to have some 80s and 90s hockey in there. Now, me thinking just baseball, football, junk wax, like nobody's going to want any of that shit. Well, no, actually, as I start going through it, there's a bunch of it that was 10, 15, $20 cards as I'm cycling through. Turns out whoever it was that I bought this off of years ago actually knew what they were doing with hockey. One of the 12 people in America. Fishing through it, I was like, okay, well, there's enough money here. Like, there's not very many hockey vendors at most of these shows. Figured might as well see if we can move it. And then as I was just scrolling through eBay, I started finding just dollar cases of like 1990 score hockey. And you know what? Sometimes you just need to rip a little junk wax and have the nostalgia effect.
Yep, yep, I
Figure
feel
we'll
you.
give most of it away to kids if they want it. And then take
Yeah,
the Lindros and the 4 other good cards out of there and see what happens.
we've got some Brett Holes. There's some Brendan Shanahans. There's going to be, and St. Louis is a hockey town. So there's
Yeah.
going to be, I just acquired a PSA Gretzky 10 for like $20 on Twitter. So I'm going to bring that to the show in the Blues uniform. 6 weeks he was in St. Louis there in 95 before Mike Keenan ran him out of town. Pretty
Wait a
excited
minute.
about having that one.
Wait, Gretzky was with.
Blues, yeah, for a
I
while.
did
Have a
not
season.
know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
The story at
Huh.
the time, he was best friends with Brett Hull, probably the number 1, number 2 players in the NHL at the time. Came over in a trade. Mike Keenan was the coach at the time in St. Louis. He had coached Gretzky in Edmonton and won a couple
Okay.
cups. Gretzky hated Mike Keenan. Mike Keenan hated Gretzky. Gretzky wanted to re-sign in St. Louis, but only if Keenan was fired. Blues ownership at the time said, no way. Gretzky moved on. So we had Gretzky for approximately, I think, 25 games. And they lost in the second round of the playoffs, I believe, that year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But extended their 25-year being in the playoffs, though.
That was a wild time in St. Louis, man. Brendan Shanahan and Brett Hull were getting into fist fights because Hull was sleeping with Shanahan's wife. It was nuts as a hockey fan in St. Louis in the 90s. I think, though, that's going to wrap us up for tonight. It is a school night, sadly. Tyrell's probably got to get up and try to lift something heavy in the morning. That's what he does.
I do.
We will be back next week, though. We're going to go and preview the infield more in depth and kind of give you a more around the world WBC Classic preview as we're getting close for that. For our guest, Riker Hale, and the Mouth of the West, Tyrell Mock, I am Mitchell Jenkins. We will see you next week.